Hello and welcome back to the OPL Week 6, day number 2, brought to you by Hungry Jack, simply the best. I'm Jack Spawn-Tibery. Joining me is Bryce Agent Paul.
Yep.
And we just saw a much closer Series 1, I think, than anyone would have expected.
Coming into the day, you expect that to be a 2-0. You expect game number 2 here between Chiefs and Order to be the much closer series. But, you know, anything can happen. I was having this conversation off camera, but I can see like a 2-0 for Chiefs. I can see a 2-0 for Order and everything in between. This could go anywhere.
Well, Trance can see the Matrix, so
but he's not
you can't
playing.
see that. Before we get into this game, I feel like it is my duty as a host to continue to check in with what is happening on the other side of the room. Nick, how are you?
My artistic integrity has been ruined by the Direwolves.
I'll tell you what, I'm not happy, mate.
Not happy at all.
Happy.
King is a hell of a League of Legends
What
player,
is that?
The man can't paint for shit because he painted shit on our painting. What is that nose? My goodness.
We're going
to need to fix this
I'm trying
one.
to create some texture within the beard.
Well, here's what I love. We've learned how to paint over the course of this segment because the hair is looking fantastic. The hair is on fire. It looks like actual flames. What is the chat saying? The chat is saying Super Saiyan Gragas, which I think is exactly what we're going for. WTF is this? Goku. Lilith says, I'm not happy. Floris the Bidoo says, lol. Ohio says, texture. And then that's about it.
My texture is not working very well, I'll tell you that much.
Well, look, here's the next step.
I need to go to texture school.
The next step we need to get to, we need to start filling in the skin, but we need to do it with some care and delicacy because what is happening?
It's all in the you can't just stand there and paint normally. It's in the technique.
Do you even
you gotta be one with the painting. If I stand there and just go, guys, look at me paint, it's not gonna turn out well.
But
you
do
up
you
the back of
even
the room.
have paint on your brush?
That's
I'm
my
just
question.
seeing
Do you want to come find
You're
out?
just like
Do you want to come find
scraping
out?
the painting, and there's nothing
I'll
going
show you.
on.
Let me see. Where's the camera? Camera, look at Nick. Is the camera looking at Nick?
He's got.
Look, I'm painting Nick now.
There we go.
That's a French girl
And I
right
already
there.
look more like Gragas than our painting does. We've got my WCE says that knows WTF. There's lots of question marks, and then that Ronald guy says needs more cask. So we're going to head into getting the skin while you guys set us up for series number 2, which I'm quite excited about. Jake can't believe what he's looking at. He's just got his head in his hands. It's very sad.
I'm upset. However, we are about to get into match number 2 of this, the final match of the week. Game of the week, it's going to be Order versus the Chiefs Esports Club. These teams have only played each other once, and it was Spooks and Swiffer that got the victory over Quinny K and DOS in the head-to-head 2 versus 2 Chiefs old-school matchup.
And there's been
Of course, Bryce is a referee.
Yeah, this has actually worked out perfectly. You know, 2 on each team. It's interesting coming into the day and how these teams approach like a match on social media. Because Swiper is tweeting about like my form, like feeling good, like can't wait to stick it to the boys. Destiny, he says he's feeling good as well. And then you have an Orders camp. He's just complaining about how like Swiffer has smelly feet. So in terms of preparation coming into the day,
I'm not going to say that that's preparation.
There's 2 different styles of social media coming into a very hype matchup.
All right, let's just kick it off with the lineups. On the blue side, it's going to be Order. Tally in the top lane, Superstar last week. Spooks, of course, their jungler. Swiffer in the mid lane. FBI and Rogue are their bottom lane. And, of course, Aaron Blam Z is their coach, good friend of the show. Where do you want to kick off with this one? Order, since their victory versus Chiefs in week 10 of last split, week 9 of last split, hasn't really beaten a quality opponent, in quotation marks.
And that's the thing. They lost to Direwolves. They've beaten AV, Mammoth, and Bombers, like more middle of the pack. They've yet to beat Direwolves, beat Chiefs, so I feel like this is going to be a true test. They can beat down on the ladder. They can get 2-0s. They have been that bully team, especially last split. They were known for 2-0ing games very quickly, but this time they need to prove themselves against a very good opponent.
Certainly doing a lot of it. He's going to start with that man on your screen. Tally, very good games in the funnel last week.
100%. He played the Vladimir to great success. And that was like a weak side Vladimir where he was just isolated, just farmed up. And then he also played the Darius into the Mundo matchup as well. So he can play with very little amount of resources. He can play when Order are giving him resources as well, gets him the counter pick and the good matchup. So he seems very versatile. And then going up against someone who's, I think, had very strong form and very weak in Swiper in the recent weeks is very up and down. I feel like that bodes well.
Yeah, it certainly could be the case. Of course, they're going up against the Chiefs Esports Club. Swiper is their top laner. Babip in the jungle. Ryoma in the mid lane. Raze and Destiny are their bottom lane. And Daruk is their coach. Ryoma had a bit of a chat to us last week. Said he was a bit disappointed when he got the solo kill on triple. He thought the game was going to go their way. He thought that they were on, and then unfortunately had to taste the bitter pill of defeat twice in 2 weeks. This is a team that is now 0-4, Bryce, in the last 2 best-of-3s they've played. What's going on with the Chiefs?
Yeah, honestly, I don't know. Because they had that, like, Galio into triples cleanseless Lucian. And, like, they get the flash. They just have such an easy setup. The game plan looks very broadcast. Ryoma, the next day, when he was on the couch talking to us, was saying, like, look, I don't know why we didn't punish the Lucian. Like, he doesn't know what's going on. So it seems to be, like, in terms of game plan and what happens in preparation going into game day, something is breaking down there for this team. And, you know, that's what happens when you go 0-4 in the last 2 weeks. It looks rough.
And whilst these are two mallet teams,
yes,
two teams that like to run team fight, I do want to discuss what happened last time Order played the Chiefs, because Order slowed the game down. They played Caitlyn Morgana, Ezreal Braum. They played a damn Anivia comp for crying out loud. This is a team that potentially can play ice against fire, whereas we haven't really seen that from the Chiefs esports.
Well, we did in the earlier weeks before mage bottom lanes became standard. I was saying Chiefs with Raze as an AD carry are probably one of the most versatile teams in the league because he's very comfortable on mages. He can play lots of weird stuff. They were lane swapping with Ziggs and had some very smart macro movements. This was before Daruk was even in the country. He was coaching from remote, so they seemed very versatile. Whereas coming into recent form, they just look to pick, Kled, engage options, and either it works, or they get to 20 minutes and they haven't found themselves with a huge lead. But you look very surprised, and so am I. That is an Aatrox.
Ooh, Aatrox left up and available for the first time, and Order insta-lock it. Yasuo, Kled, Swain taken off the board. Lulu, Galio, Rakan also will join them on the bench. Aatrox picked up, and Zoe insta-locked for Ryoma.
Yeah, this is probably going to be the Aatrox in the mid lane you expect with that smite. Depends on jungle matchup, stuff like that. Also, this might be the first time in a very long amount of time, a very long period, that Order haven't actually banned the Morgana. You know, they went for the Aatrox first pick because Rakan was banned away.
Yeah, it certainly is. And I think that whilst I agree it could go in the mid lane, I am more interested that they left it open in the top lane because Swiper is a tank player. And Aatrox destroys tanks, for a lack of a better word.
Yep.
It's going to be Orianna instantly locked in, so it is going to be a top lane Aatrox.
But this is a very, like, prepared strategy. You don't come into this big match as Chiefs and forget about Aatrox. So they definitely have something planned. They solo lock in, blind lock in very early. Their mid laner, their jungler as well. Babip isn't really a Sejuani player. He's played a lot, but he's more known for the carries. Likes to get on the Talia, likes to get on the Nidalee, stuff like that. So they've shown that they can play it. They have played this style at Rift Rivals fairly recently, but Swiper is more on the tanks. But red side, they 100% are going to have counter pick. I feel like there's some cheese prepared.
And I am very surprised that Order didn't lock in the Alistar there. Because Alistar Orianna is one of the best combos, and it's something that Rogue excels on. In fact, I think we've only in the last couple of weeks in standard lanes really seen him play Rakan Alistar. I don't think I've seen him play all that much else. And there is no cheese, because they've got their top side of the map dealt with, and it is going to be Mundo.
And that is so weird to me. I straight up do not understand what's going on with this Chiefs draft. Obviously, they think Aatrox isn't obscenely broken. This is the first time we've seen it in every single game in this week of play, that he did become a big, strong power pick in the meta. Not to mention, last time these two teams played, you mentioned the Anivia stuff like that. It was actually Order who were in the reverse situation where they were happily giving Chiefs the Xayah Rakan when they played it every single game. Now it's the shoe on the other foot where Chiefs are like, look, we'll happily give you the Aatrox. Like, we're going to pick Mundo. We feel fine with that. And we'll see how it plays out.
So support bans now coming in quick and fast. It's going to be Pyke as well as Morgana take it off. And this draft has really slowed down. First couple of picks were insta-locks, back and forth. Now coaches have really put the brakes on, and I think it is, I mean, Sharp mentioned it, a lot of this game is going to come down to draft.
And I think bottom lane is going to be where the majority of this action is. Looking at what you already see, you see Aatrox in the top lane. He's going to beat down on the Mundo. Babip on the Sejuani, not that big of a threat, but Chiefs, they are on red side. They have counter pick. Raze and Destiny have been playing together for quite a while now, FBI and Rogue. These two bottom lanes could be very volatile. I expect both of them to want to be fighting with each other at almost all stages of this game.
And they take away Lucian, a pick that we haven't seen all that much in the OPL. has been played a little bit. Was also played in the mid lane by Triple, I believe, one game.
Gets banned a lot more than it gets played.
Yep.
And when it gets played, it normally does fairly well. So Chiefs are going to have to start looking in their bottom lane. Of course, it was the Shen and the Pyke ban, so that means Alistar is actually available. Destiny, especially at Rift Rivals, had a very good few games on this pick, but that's a very defensive lock-in.
Certainly is. Tahm Kench Ezreal. This is a lane that excels in going backwards, not going forwards. Very interesting out of FBI and Rogue.
Yep. Tahm Kench very good into things like the Sejuani, like the Zoe, the single target CC. Lands on someone, you devour them out of it, and you're absolutely fine. Order obviously just investing into Tally. We saw last week, Darius into Mundo, that they're happy to play this style. They can play through Tallywacker in the top lane, and he's got this very good matchup, and I was expecting something spicier than Varus Alistar. In all honesty, if you're picking the Mundo into the Aatrox and you don't have some huge kill threat in the bottom lane, there's a lot of CC down there, especially when paired with a Sejuani, but I was thinking something way more out of left field for the Chiefs here.
But two big team fighting comps.
Yep.
Orianna, Aatrox. If they get access, they're going to blow up the backline. You got Varus, Alistar, Mundo, Sejuani, you know, big beefy frontline, 2 damage threats. I feel like a lot of this game is going to be on the mid laners because if everything goes even, it comes down to who gets better access to the squishies, Swiffer or Ioma, because if someone gets popped on the backline, these comps run out of damage very quick.
Not to mention, this kind of draft is super cool for the first game of a set. If Chiefs come out swinging this game and they take down the Aatrox and show that they can deal with it, that is a huge blow for Order, who obviously prioritize it incredibly highly. First pick, blind, topside for Tally, has the TP. It's not going to be any of that smite mid shenanigans, but if Chiefs can show that they can deal with it and it's not actually as strong as anyone has said, every single OPL team has banded away, so there's kind of a consensus there.
I feel like it was 100% at Rift Rivals, not in minor regions. And since then, I think it is also like 87%. I was checking the stats earlier today.
Yep.
I feel like it lost a random North America game, but who can even really count those ones?
They don't have a Rift Rivals trophy. Their stats don't count. Absolutely not. But yeah, 87%, 82%, whatever you said. That's a big
It's pretty
number.
high in competitive play.
That is enormous.
So we'll see whether they can deal with it. In saying that, I do like the Chiefs draft. This is a draft that Order historically would have taken and been very comfortable with. You know, beefy frontline, lots of CC and good damage sources.
It is a mallet composition. They have an Alistar, they have a Sejuani, they have carries and a front line, so it's exactly in the Chiefs' wheelhouse. Mind you, kind of mixing up the roles here and there. You expected Swiper to be more on the engage, whereas Babip on the damage. They flipped the script here.
Certainly do, as we are into a delay immediately. We'll get you some word on what is going on there. However, this is going to be Order versus the Chiefs. We are joined by Order's coach, Aaron Bland. Choo-choos, how you doing, mate?
I'm good, thanks. How's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. Were you shocked when they left open the Aatrox?
Yeah, we definitely were. I think across the world, red side bans are very one-dimensional. You tend to ban just all the OPs up, but they did catch us off by leaving a lot of things open, so we were forced to take the Aatrox.
And what does that do in terms of preparation for a week? Something that's so regimented in an Aatrox ban on red side, everybody thinks it's absolutely monstrously OP, and then it just gets left up, and on stage you have to just, you just have to take it.
Yeah.
Like, how much practice have you actually got on this pick? Is it kind of scary?
I think it would throw off every team because in scrims, you would expect the same bans, and then you kind of, it kind of goes both ways because I don't know if Chiefs have been leaving up Aatrox in practice, but every team should go into their OPL series with the idea that these bans could be left up, and if that does happen, we need to be ready. We are ready. James is a very good Aatrox. Otherwise, there's a bunch of other things we can do with Aatrox, but we decided to do this game because they early picked Zoe, and you can see Orianna has become a very good counter pick into that at the moment. So we've got a very strong side, top side of the map this game.
All right, cool. Now let's talk about kind of stylistic, how these teams mash up against each other. Historically, both have liked to play team fight, but the last time your team played against the Chiefs, you guys ran very slow, methodical, a Nivea comms. I think there was an Ezreal Braum game in there.
That's right.
Is this something is it going to be team fight versus team fight? How do you think this series will play out?
Definitely. Just from looking at both teams, you've got Alistar, Sejuani, Mundo, and then we've got an Orianna, Ezreal, Aatrox. We're just going to run at each other. This game will probably come down to who can execute on who's early win condition early. So we've got a really strong top side, and Chiefs have a very strong, I would say a very strong bot lane with their Zoe. So it will definitely play out in the early 10 minutes of the game.
And I want to ask not about this game specifically, but what we just saw between Bombers and Direwolves. Like, were you guys backstage waiting for your game, obviously catching much of it? Like, how is the team feeling after seeing what just happened? Of course, Direwolves pick up the victory, but dropping a game, super surprising.
Yeah, I think every OPL team is very, like, proud of Bombers to take a game because they're so far ahead of everyone else in the points. So it was definitely got the boys quite hyped and excited to like get on stage. So yeah, we're on a good mood today.
All right, cool. And last question for you. FBI obviously going for the very unconventional Klepto Ezreal. Is he going to build an early tier?
Oh, yeah, airy.
Electrocute, airy.
Yeah. No tiers being built? Is he going to build tier?
Like, we were talking about it upstairs, but Klepto Ezreal just gives you about, like if you press X, if the spectator presses X, you'll just see that Ezreal will be the same CS as Varus, but will have 600 gold. I mean,
maybe not at 2.5 minutes into
it's
the
4,
game.
like, he's 4 CS up, and that's... But the idea is that Ezreal wants to get to his 2-item power spike, like ASAP, and Klepto just facilitates that.
All right, cool. I'm out. You got anything else you want to ask?
Good.
All right, well, thank you so much for joining us, Shushu.
No worries,
Best of
thanks.
luck. As Spooks is behind in levels, but actually you're going to catch out Babip here. Has double buff and going to do a lot of damage. Babip has to flash already.
Honestly surprised Spooks didn't flash in front of the queue there. There was definitely outplay potential. Get in front of the Sejuani, burnt the flash early. Potentially you pick up that first blood. Happy to just take the Scuttle Crab away. Was waiting around for Babip.
I do think if you're running a comp like this from Order, Aatrox, Orianna, Ezreal, any trade that you can take at a positive early game without taking a risk, you take. I don't think you ever want to trade in this situation. I think that you just want to scale because they're late game. If you get Orianna Ezreal to late game, you should win majority of games in that situation.
Especially a Klepto Ezreal. And you get a whole bunch of cheeky gold. I will say, though, like I think that was definitely a possibility for a kill there.
Yep.
And in my school of thought, League of Legends, if you can kill him, you just kill him.
But now Sejuani can't gank. Because if she ganks and gets counter ganked, she's going to die. And that's actually going to be the ghost use from Ryoma. Dancing around creeps is Swiffer. Will be able to dodge out and actually wins the trade there.
Yeah, very nice trade back. Constantly dancing behind the melee creeps means that the bubble had to be thrown out fairly late. You kind of want to lead with that majority of the time. Makes Paddle Stars do a whole boatload of damage and very easy to land. But that wasn't engaged coming out from Destiny. His bottom lane's trading back and forth. FBI with the Klepto means that he gets that red pot, has some extra safety, goes Inspiration Tree, so has biscuits as well. This is a very safe bottom lane. Rogue also, especially into CC lanes with a CC jungler, you see Spellbook, just so that the supports can take the cleanse and kind of save themselves. Tahm Kench, he's a very good guy, saves everyone else, but every now and again, you need to save yourself.
It's very hard as a Tahm Kench to play these Alistar matchups, in my opinion, against a good Alistar.
Yep.
Because you have to ride the edge of, I need to be far enough to save Ezreal, but not far enough that they can go on me early game, because he still takes significant damage early game.
Yep.
So I think that this is one of those matchups that a good Alistar player can still win. Certainly not like a 100-0 matchup.
Yep. Not to mention, like, Tahm E is very useful when you can use it in bursts, and all they have is like a big chunk of damage. Like in a dive, they go for it, your turret is damaging time and time again. In these matchups where the lane is fairly even, you're meeting in the middle. If Alistar lands like the combo onto you, you don't ride that edge perfectly. Like they just wait out your black or your grey health rather than black shield. They just hit you with the CC, just shepherd you back towards your turret, and it doesn't mean a whole lot. So if Rogue ever miss positions, there's certainly kill threat.
Very nice trade coming in from Raze there. The old school Varus trade, one auto into the E. Just stops the trade dead in its track because of the slow. However, FBI gets a couple of good autos there as well. What I was going to mention is Spooks has gone Tiamat. He has so far got 100% of Scuttle Crabs.
Yep.
And also 3-buffed Babip in this game. So he's doing a very good job of putting the jungle on cooldown right now.
Yep. Feeling very happy now that Swiffer has priority mid. The Aatrox, as you expect, has priority top. Has a lot of opportunities. Gank may be happening in the bottom side. Alistar sets them up just so easily. Flash pole, knocking people backwards. You expect to go on the Tahm Kench at this stage. Ezreal very mobile and will just get eaten up by the Toad.
However, you can ever get Ezreal flash, it makes Rogue's job very difficult.
Oh, but that just gave it away. Destiny 100% sold the play, or to know exactly what's going on. They warded over from the river to the lane, but the fact that Babip never left the bush means that they never guaranteed vision.
Yeah, that's
the
the
Sejuani.
false sense of security play, right?
Yep.
But in saying that, they do have full topside control, so they know exactly where he isn't.
Process of elimination.
Yep.
Hey, he's not topside. I reckon he's probably down near the bottom lane.
You can see right now that it's going to be Babip going for an invade on the red buff. So they're just trading halves, and Choo-Choo's kind of alluded to this was going to be the case, given the fact that, you know, Alistar as well as Varus have a lot of wave control. Topside Aatrox has very good wave control.
Yep, that is a pretty early TP from Swiper to get back and catch that wave. Want to see if Tally does actually match him here, or if he holds on to that one. Spook's just trying to help Swiffer shove out the mid lane, walks in, hits him with a Tiamat and walks away. And Tally will actually hold his TP, so actually...
Meanwhile, however, Spooks has been caught out here. Will try and turn it around. Does a lot of damage.
Shockwave.
Shockwave onto 2 members, and that's first blood going over to Spooks. And Destiny's in trouble now as well. Gonna have to try and get away, but he gets flashed on, and this should be Swiffer picking up a kill. 2 kills for Order.
And that was TP from Tally as well in the backside, so Ryoma can't do anything. Chiefs look for the proactive play in a 2 versus 3, get shut down.
They certainly do, and this is what I said. If you are in a situation where you have the Trundle accelerated, Sejuani is useless, especially with Aftershock. He just got so tanky.
That's the thing. Level 6 for the Trundle means Subjugate is available. You shred the resist. Babip died so incredibly quickly. He doesn't have his ultimate to throw down. They didn't have that CC. Shockwave lands onto 2 people. Alistar, other than the initial combo, has nothing left to offer when there's really no damage threat. So, Order just clean that one up.
Certainly do. Meanwhile, top lane, Tally is even in CS, but there's a big creep wave pushing into Swipe. You have to say that most of that is due to the fact that Tally TP'd mid, whereas Swiper TP'd back topside. And this is something we talk about. Tally, even though he can carry, a lot of the times in these games, has been playing weak side for Order.
Yep.
I expected to see something different today, but it seems to still be the case.
Traditionally, Order like to play through their bottom lane, for at least for the early start of the season. Of course, Funnel comps kind of just change the game plan across the board and skew stats very heavily, but when they play standard League of Legends, they like to play aggressive Alistar, Rakan lanes, so that kind of means that Spooks has to spend more time in the bottom side of the map. Now that he's more freed up, has other opportunities, but Tally more often than not finds himself on a little bit of an island in the top lane. Mind you, the island's not that far away, as we were talking about yesterday. The map is very small.
Not when there's just teleports everywhere at the moment. It is very interesting, I want to mention, that you try and play a team fight 80 carry versus Raze. Because Raze and Destiny certainly step up in the bottom lane, as Babip going to be spotted on a ward. Very nicely done by Swiffer. What I mean by that is they like to aggress in the lane. So if you fight fire with fire, there's windows. However, they've really taken the Tahm Kench Ezreal slow approach. This is something we see out of Gen G in Korea a lot with like Ruler and Core JJ. Just saying, if we get to 3 items, we'll beat you in the long run. They won a Worlds with it. Maybe FBI and Rogue not ready for that one just yet.
It's probably a long way to go before that point, but yes, the thought still absolutely counts. And not to mention, they played the Anivia comp, they played the Ezreal Braum back in the day. They've done this against Chiefs in the past. So the fact that they start this game with now a 1,500 gold lead, they get the first blood and the early kills. Spooks went for that Tiamat and then was winning skirmishes anyway. Is just doubly more important there for the Trundle. So he's going to be soloing out Rift Herald. His lanes have priority anyway. He doesn't really have to do a whole lot other than just put his camps on cooldown, and he's getting further and further ahead over Babip.
And Swiper, obviously renowned for his ability to stop Rift Herald takes in the top lane, 2v1. So Tally does the right thing and just floats over, relieves some of that pressure from Spooks. Spooks has had a very good early game so far.
If he can't get to the Rift Herald, then he can't take it away. So Tally's like, no.
Does he instantly drop it top? That's a big wave up there.
Definitely potential. I don't think they know that Sejuani's on the bottom side, other than their ability to infer that based on vision. Rift Herald does get popped. Swiper trying to defend here, does have the ultimate.
I don't think he can defend. There's Subjugate available and Tally's ultimate available. This turret will go down, and Swiper can't do anything about it.
The answer is potentially looking in the mid lane, but Swiffer floating top side of the map, backs away. It's not an air drake, it's not an ocean. The mountain is a decent prize if they want to commit to it, but Order may just continue running this one through to the inner turret. It's definitely going to be one charge, but it looks like the recalls will come through.
Swiper got pulled back as well, gets knocked up by Shally. And you can see the early lane swap potentially being called here by Order. No, they don't go for it. They will instead stay in lane.
And that's the thing, this is unlike Chiefs. The fact that they're not making something happen on the other side of the map. When Swiper falls behind or like is put in a situation where he's behind, Rift Herald gets dropped in his lane, they're very quick to, with something like an Alistar, with a Varus, to make something happen on the other side of the map. Babip was down there. They didn't even try start up the Mountain Drake. They didn't really do a whole lot of anything. Swiffer,
I feel like against a Tahm Kench, starting up Mountain Drake and those kinds of things, if they recall, is very dangerous because you lose priority instantly because they're going to, like, they will get the Mountain Drake, sure.
Yep.
But can they get a turret off it? Or is it the situation where, you know, this lane can rotate around the map, can get things like free shots? And they did walk over double pink ward. So I think they wanted to go for the mid lane kill.
Yep.
But just weren't able to make it work.
Ori floating the other side has Flash and Cleanse, so the first gank is probably unlikely to work there. As ulti comes out, actually cancels Destiny's base. Ray's doing a nice job of not basing on top of each other, so they only get one recall. TP is available for the AD carry of the Chiefs, so goes back, buys his Bork, and TP's back to lane.
Spooks has been a pain in the bum. He's kind of playing like annoying Trundle right now. He had that one skirmish, which was pretty aggressive, but outside of that, he's gone Merc Treads, and he's just walking around dropping pillars on laners right now, which is a little bit frustrating as Swiffer dodges out of that ball. Does he go for the play? It's going to be Babip there as well. However, now Tally is there. You can see that this is going to be multiple members. Got snuffed underneath the turret, however. Tally now with the ultimate running will have to try and run away. Rogue is here to save his life. 80 carry is not yet moving.
And round number 2 of the skirmish in the mid lane goes heavily in favor of the Chiefs. Destiny, very nice play. Punts Swiffer into the turret. Flash Pulverize immediately locks him down. So despite having Flash, despite having Cleanse, there's nothing the mid laner of Order can do. He gets shut down and Chiefs finally find a window to take down this dragon.
Yeah, it looked like some miscommunication. They knew the other members were there. Tally got there first, so they thought they could fight. However, Destiny just with the MVP play, getting Swiffer underneath that turret meant that he was blown up. No summoner spells even used.
Yep. So they picked themselves up a dragon. Gold lead still in favor of Order, as you expect. Kind of the non-gold objective going the way of Chiefs. It's a pretty hefty lead for this early in the game in the jungle pool. CS is 30 above and Spooks finds himself 1100 over the Sejuani. And that's not getting any easier. This matchup is bad for the Sejuani. Trundle is 2 levels available. She's not tanky in a team fight when Subjugate goes down, so it's going to be rough.
Especially given that so much of your team fight ability is by being able to blow one member up. And if Spooks can just ult the front line, can ult the Sejuani and stop that from happening, does kind of disrupt how Chiefs want to play out the team fights. I think they're going to have to get pretty crafty in how they look at these.
And it is going to be a lot on Destiny, I think, because Destiny has the non-cleansable CC.
Yep.
If you can get onto Swiffer, like, he can't, like, get out of the Alistar knockup, whereas he can just tank a Sejuani and cleanse out and he'll be fine. Rogue struggles to deal with an Alistar much more than he does a Sejuani, things like that. And Order's composition, Tally has an inbuilt GA, he comes back alive, they have the Tahm Kench to eat someone, Cleanse on the mid laner, Ezreal's very mobile, has a Tahm Kench in his back pocket, so Chiefs in terms of being proactive don't have a whole lot of options, so in the opportunities they do find, they really have to land.
And I would be interested to see which team thinks outscales. Because we haven't seen much Aatrox late game. As that Sleepy Trouble bubble landing, Swiffer has to cleanse. That's a Tahm Kench ultimate. Flash Pillar to start this one up, and FBI will grab the kill. 4 members of Order mid, 5 members of Order mid.
That was just Shockwave landing onto a flashless.
Oh, and they have Swiper here as well. He will be able to just run out the back end, and Alistar now showing up.
No flash for the Alistar, and doesn't go for Hex Flash this game, so no real threat over the wall. Swiper, rightly so, pops the ultimate, gets him the move speed he needs to get out of the pullback from Aatrox, but these mid laners, constantly pressure applied. Ryoma had many people floating around his lane this time. Doesn't have the extra safety of the cleanse, things like that. So Swiffer absolutely receiving the benefits this game.
And we talked a lot about bottom lane is kind of a self-sufficient entity for the Chiefs, and they don't play around Swiper much. So you can nearly guarantee that Babip will be in proximity of mid lane. A lot of his pathing, actually, we're going to have a bit of a tussle up top as Swiper takes a lot of his health and doesn't have ultimate available. A lot of his pathing is, you know, Raptors to mid lane to clear out some vision. Wolves to mid lane to clear out some vision. And I think Order is reading that quite well this game. And both times that Babip and Ryoma have been caught out has been in 2v2s or 2v3s around the mid lane. Destiny actually changed one of them, otherwise it would have been 3 that went that direction.
But I feel like in terms of roles, not like marksman, jungler, things like that, in terms of champion roles, like engage and where the carry and the damage comes from for Chiefs, like, to have a bit of a conversation about it, this is rough from the Chiefs 2v2. Ryoma isn't playing something where he can generate his own threat like the
this is the Casio, yeah.
into the Swain. This
Or a
is
Syndra.
he's being counterpicked by the Orianna in this Zoe matchup, and Babip, he generates pressure when he's on the carry and he's invading Spooks' jungle, invading on the Nidalee and causing a ruckus. He's not the big team fight engager on the Sejuani.
Okay.
Chiefs have played that style, but it's just not as successful. So in terms of where they've allocated their resources, it's a little bit backwards in some respects. Chiefs, we talked about, are a pretty versatile team at times, so they're willing to play different strategies. But this big game, I feel like this one isn't the ideal situation for these players.
And Spooks now has just popped his head into 2 lanes and taken 2 turrets. Has given Order a 4,000 gold lead. This is Spooks, for the first split, kind of turned into a PvE jungler.
Yes,
this isn't something we're used to seeing out of Samuel Broadley lately. In the Advanced series, went a little bit more battle heavy.
Yep.
But this has been, you know, a pretty... All the action has been around the Order jungler, if you want to put it that way.
You know what it was?
What?
Playing support in the funnel compositions.
Oh.
Because you don't get to farm, you know? You're playing Braum, you're not farming junglers, you're not farming creeps, you're just getting relic stacks here and there. All you can do is fight. And now, it's bled over into his jungle game, and he likes a bit more of the Fido. The farming has gone astray. You know what? I like that.
Is he a better Shen than you are?
No.
Okay.
Actually, sorry. He's a better new Shen than me. Which is kind of a yes.
Okay.
But my Shen back in the day, that was OP. Sharp, of course, he just won the series. Like Coach of Direwolves, I made him miserable.
You used to just sit there and chuck Vorpal Blades at him?
No, he was playing top lane. He was playing Ryze into Olaf, and we picked Shen at the express purpose of just proccing Olaf ulti as soon as Ryze was on the screen, and you just run him down.
Yeah, all right, I can understand that one.
Shen's also super fun in solo queue, because you would just rush Moby Boots and you just taunt flash mid
Well, the
laners.
old thing you used to be able to do, which was why he was OP, is actually Destiny caught out here. That's going to be a big sloke into the Moby Boot. Good ultimate, however, flash away will stop them dead in their tracks.
Destiny has to blow absolutely everything to get to safety. Flash out of the shockwave means no damage is dealt, but they lose a lot of control from that pick.
What I was going to talk about is Shen's Q. People won't remember this, but old school Shen Q, you used to throw your dagger at a creep.
Yep.
And then if you auto-attacked it, you get health back.
But your allies auto-attack it and they get health back.
So what you used to do is you used to throw it at a cannon creep, and then your AD carry would just sit there and auto-attack it early game. That would just be full health.
Yep.
The whole laning phase.
You're like a Soraka with CC.
It was broken when people figured that out.
It was real cool.
And you didn't used to take your W as support Shen for like the first 9 levels.
Yeah, it was useless.
Because it would take 80 mana, 80 energy, and give you like a 20 health shield.
And they also, in the rework, changed it so that if you're not landing tons of abilities on Shen, you don't get the energy back if you're not auto-attacking, whereas support Shen doesn't auto-attack that much. So new Shen, if you don't land your taunt, you just run out of energy like almost immediately.
Swiffer recalls, so this is definitely a dragon that Chiefs can take. Also, given the fact that Swiffer didn't have Shockwave, I think that that would have been a seed regardless. So this is double Mountain picked up for the Chiefs. Certainly a good news story for them because their Baron comp is very scary.
Yes, pretty good. They have a Bork 80 carry. They have a Mundo, does that percentage HP damage as well, and that's kind of scary, not for Order in terms of fighting, but any mistake means that the Baron is going to be immediately destroyed, can break open the game very quickly, and we've seen Chiefs do that so often. They are the 20-minute Baron team.
But you can tell that Order are kind of backing that. This whole comp relies on not making a mistake. You're playing finesse in Tahm Kench. You're playing, you know, bigger split push threat in the Aatrox, but definitely not going to be the meat shield that Mundo is.
Yeah, this is a different kind of mallet. You know, it's got a spiky side. It's not just 2 flat ends. They don't have an engaged support. They don't have an engaged top laner or jungle. They just have a lot of skill shots here and there. Just looking to steal away some camps. Tiamat makes that very easy for Spooks.
Actually looked like Ray's got the big camp there, so that's very well done. However, Order now multiple members in this mid lane. Pillar's going to dissuade any kind of re-engage coming in, not to mention the fact that there's no one else actually here. Actually, Headbutt Pulverize does come in, tanks it up, and now Destiny will turn around and get a boatload of damage. You can see that the CC is there. Goes gold and the Shockwave onto one member. You have to question that. However, Teleport now coming in from Big Swift. Spooks has to flash away. Destiny will fall down. Swiffer is on the front line, will flash over the wall. Ryoma, however, gets CC'd up, and Tally is huge in this team fight. Now Race has to flash out, and this is a wash. The Chiefs have been absolutely routed, and the order will go towards Baron.
And Chiefs bite off way more than they can chew. 2 members walking from top down to mid lane. Destiny goes in. He got picked off before, had to blow the flash, has no tools to get himself out of there, so he has to keep committing. Ryoma burns the flash to get over the Wraith Wall, and they're desperately trying to cling to it.
Swiper is here, 8,000 health still. This is going to be a full HP raise. However, they've gone for the turn. You can see that they don't want to continue this objective.
But they don't get the kill onto Swiper, so Chiefs buy themselves a whole lot of time. Gold lead is still 4,000. But the Baron not going down, such a big deal. If these Mountain Drakes were in Order's hands, that Baron is dead to rights immediately. As we take another look where Ryoma comes over the wall and then goes back with his ulti. He lands the damage onto the creep, but at this point, Swiffer, very nice stopwatch on the Shockwave that was only onto the Alistar there. Chasing over here, Ryoma actually has a skirmisher, so does a whole lot of damage. Destiny sacrifices himself to get the CC there, but Chiefs are just overcommitted at this point. Tally lives on the back end of a very nice flash forward to pick up that kill with the passive on the ulti, and he's completely fine.
Yeah, it certainly is, and they didn't have to burn FBI's flash, even though he was the one that got caught out. He got hit by the Varus ultimate, got hit by Headbutt Pulve combo, but was eaten out by Rogue and took no damage, so kept his summoner spells available.
And we're 22 minutes into the game. Last Ezreal game, it was 18 minutes and we saw a tear. This time, it's completely done at this point. So, two item spike. Choo Choo's talked about it in the interview. Well and truly completed here for FBI. Sitting on level 11 now as well. A little bit behind. Raze has been grouping up a little bit more. 20 CS in a little bit of a hole there. Has the XP lead as well. But Order looking to control the bottom side of the map, actually. Floating towards Tally.
I think trying to give him some split push safety, given the fact that, you know, he has gone for a rather aggressive build, has the ultimate but no flash now, so eventually Sejuani Mundo would run him down.
Yep. I feel like once he gets towards the cleaver, once he gets to build the Merc Treads, then he genuinely has 1v1 kill threat that Swiper will be super worried about. Because Mundo has finished those 2 items. Cheaper, as well as the fact that Executioner's Calling is almost a necessity at this point against the Mundo. So Tally invests in small components. Now he gets the cleaver. Yep. Doesn't quite have enough for the Merc Treads, but
so the other thing that I learned about Mundo, about Aatrox, and obviously something that's really relevant in this, is he's a much better team fighter than people give him credit for. The persistent CC is very hard to deal with if you're something like a Zoe. If you get pillared off, and then Aatrox starts running at you, you know that if you hit him, he's just going to go into that weird limping ultimate, and you're going to have to deal with some form of repetitive CC again.
Oh, Ryoma is now in vision.
Pillar going to come out. Shockwave is actually there before it. They just eat him alive.
And that's 2 members also coming up. The bottom lane arrives, and his turret is dead to rights almost immediately. Picking on Ryoma has been the name of the game so
as
far.
well. Pillar is nearly back up and available again. That's dangerous from Babip. You can get pillared out of your charge very easily.
Only a couple of creeps, so I expect them to not stick around and seize this one. Tally on the bot side. They buy him a little bit of time. Swiper has to rotate over. The pressure from Order top side means that Mundo has to collapse.
FBI just taking up the turret a little bit, but getting good damage down, and those Qs are starting to stack up damage.
Yeah, that's exactly what they want to do. They're just floating pressure away from Tally. They're not actually going to take down the inhib turret. They're not going to commit to a fight under that one with Zoe spawning in about 5 seconds. They just buy some time for Tally. He gets a big chunk in the side lane. We'll be able to take away a blue buff as well, and it's those small incremental victories that are leading to this gold lead. Yeah,
another dragon about to spawn in 30 seconds. You would expect Order to not let that one go down without a fight, given how much bottom lane priority they now have on Summoner's Rift. However, you do have to mention that this is a Varus, one of the best scaling AD carries in the game, and he's got himself 2 items.
He is untouched in a team fight.
He'll rip them apart.
Absolutely pops off. Has CC. Chiefs comp absolutely doesn't lack CC in any respect of the word. Every single champion has some form of hard lockdown bar the Mundo, so they're looking for Babip and the Sejuani. Chiefs have done fairly well to maintain some semblance of control around this Baron for the time being. Pink Ward will get cleaned out, and Order do maintain complete control at this point, but...
Ooh, and that's a Mountain Drake. So if Swipe is able to solo this one, that's triple Mountain. Once again, we talk about the turn in the game. It is much easier to win a game when you are winning late than it is winning early. However, Mundo, if he gets caught here, is in some trouble. The Chiefs are out of position. He is caught up. Flashless, will use the ultimate, but the persistent CC that just comes out of this Aatrox is very obnoxious.
And they don't even care.
Oh, you can see that something's gone wrong.
You can see that because your screen is now in a sepia tone.
Also, the fact that Tally just shrugged. and said, I don't know what happened, I think is what he just said. So we'll see how that happens. Spooks has a sip of his water bottle, looks pretty calm. And this has been a pretty calm game.
Yeah, it has. Other than like the mid lane shenanigans, you know, the
2v3 turnaround.
Yep. There's been a few moments here and there, but both of these teams kind of Chiefs falling down very early. I feel like a bit of a chip in the shoulder, you know, knocked them down a peg, and then they weren't looking for those classic Chiefs early game fights, like they weren't skirmishing. After the first one failed, Babip and Ryoma, Destiny in the mid lane, could not win that 2 versus 3, and Auto have just had control from that point. They've just been waiting for their item spikes. You know, Quinny K was just on your screen, wanted to get towards the Gwinsus, has that Bork. So playing it fairly safely across the board.
Yeah, he's probably an attack speed item away from really being able to shred through the team fights.
Attack speed item?
Like a Hurricane or something like that. Because he will go towards some form of Zeal item to most likely open up the build to all the other things. The other thing he could do is he could go Nash's Death Cap or something like that and try and diversify the damage. But I feel like if you got a Zoe on your team, you do want to just have that pure AD threat.
Zoe is significantly far behind, so I wouldn't hate it. He's obviously like gone for the attack speed build, has the Bork, has the Gwinsu, so he's going to be hitting incredibly fast as Order. Don't care about the Mundo, they let Swiper go, as they don't have hard CC to lock him down after the Aatrox, but they do take themselves an Earth Drake.
They are merciful in their relief of Swiper running away. I do want to talk about that Zoe versus Orianna matchup. We heard that, you know, this new counter pick is coming out. On top of that, you were on a team with Swiffer when the Swiffer-Ryoma kind of rivalry began. Is this a matchup that Swiffer likes to play?
I also have to mention that Ryoma was on the team when the Swiffer-Ryoma rivalry began, because he was a substitute sitting behind Swiffer and Scrims, learning from him at one point in his career.
But is this something like, does Swiffer, in your experience, when you know this was Chiefs versus Sin, get excited by playing Ryoma? Or is this like, do you have matchups? Like, I know you used to like playing against certain supports more than other supports, and you really wanted to get the upper hand in those matchups. Is this one of them for Swiffer?
I will say no. Okay. I don't know about recently, but I feel like Ryoma, when he was on Sin, Sin was a very volatile team. Like, they're a scary team to play because they're so wildcardy. You don't know what's going to happen. And
wildcard in the true sense of the word, not as in
like a wildcard tournament.
Very nice. Sleepy Trouble Bubble hits, but they will just block it out.
Spooks takes almost no damage from the Zoe that has to invest in a Banshee's Vow.
Destiny is here now, engages onto Spooks. Spooks has to burn the flash as well as the ultimate instantly.
Yep, very respectful there. They have a split pushing Orianna without TP, so in terms of the collapse, it would be very slow here from Order, so burns the Summoner to get himself out of harm's way, and everything goes back to even. But back to the Swiffer Ryoma talk, I feel like Ryoma at times has been a very scary mid laner. Like, he will absolutely take over the game, and these two players backdate for a while. They have had those skin bets over Freljord, Talia. Queen of Spades, Syndra, I think is the name of the skin, stuff like that. But so it's an exciting matchup, but I feel like when I was on a team with Swiffer, he didn't really like playing against Ryoma.
Okay. As Spooks once again caught out. Doesn't have the flash, so they have to go forward. The ultimate will land onto FBI, but Spooks still going forward. Now will go so low. Shockwave will land onto 2 members. However, it was the tanks. Destiny goes forward, shut down for the Aatrox, and on the backline he is wreaking havoc. However, you have to say Swiper is doing the exact same, and they cannot kill the Mundo right now. Finally, he will get CC'd up, shut down, and all of a sudden Sleepy Trouble Bubble will land. That is a one-team fight for the Chiefs.
And such a split fight. The carries from Order. Shockwave goes onto 2 tanks and doesn't get them a pick immediately. All of a sudden, Swiper 300 CS, working on his 3rd item. Didn't even have to burn the stopwatch. Despite losing in the 1v1 versus the Aatrox, he can tank carries for days here. That's exactly what happened. Aatrox falls down much quicker than Amundo, so Order, despite having the gold lead, they lose the fight.
But you can see the threat that comes out of it. So much damage done as we see this one again. Spooks caught very far up.
Yeah, should not be this far up. The Shockwave comes out, only hits the Alistar and the Sejuani because of a very nice flash, I think, from Raze on the backside. Gets himself over the wall. And at this point, Swiper comes in, and you can see Rogue trying to peel the carries on the bottom side. Swiper just not caring about anything, and as soon as Shockwave is burnt by Swiffer, there's no way that Tally is going to deal enough damage to actually kill anyone. And the Aatrox just doesn't last as long as Mundo.
Yeah, it certainly does not. However, they go back, they pick up Blade Ruin King as well as the G8 at the same time. Swiper goes back, finishes up his Spirit Visage, I believe. So that Mundo going to be even more difficult to kill now.
As Baron is still the name of the game. Spooks got caught posturing around the top side of this river. But
that's actually Destiny walking way too far forward. Will go so low, and they're going to continue this chase. You can see they're giving him the ball from Orianna.
Very nice chunk. It's a flashless Alistar. Used it in the last fight, so has to blow the ulti. Is incredibly low. Will have to go back to base. Raze has no TP. Did just use it as well. Swiper does, and is very high level at this point, but Order look like they don't want to set up around the Baron. They don't want to pull the trigger immediately. A 50%, 80% damage onto Alistar isn't enough for them to start up the big purple worm.
You see, Swiffer is so low mana right now. They probably need to get him a recall or a blue buff at some point. Just not able to sustain up in that regard.
He's sitting on 3 items, has the safety of the Banshees as well. Very nice against things like the Sejuani, like the Zoe, and the Varus, I guess, as well. They're all just flingers, you know, their CC just flies in from across the screen.
Especially with something like the cleanse there. Going to be very nice.
Means that almost to lock you down, you have to expend 2 ultimates, like Sejuani and Varus. One breaks the Banshees, one is cleansable as well, Spooks. Very quick.
Looking for Raze here. They do get the
Pillar
knock up
lands.
off the pillar, however. Damage doesn't register. I thought that was going to hit, but it doesn't.
Ryoma lands the bubble, but unfortunately can't follow up with any sort of damage. Tally in the side lane hasn't had too much priority at this point. He's very strong. Aatrox, at this point of the game, the Mundo will just tank him up and then walk away, heal back up with a Warmog. So unless he's so far ahead that he can just tank turrets underneath the Mundo and ignore him, it's super rough for Tally to get anything done, especially with TP disadvantage. So Order looking to break that cycle now. They want Swiper to burn his TP. Do they just commit to the Baron, though? It's getting pretty low.
Yeah, it certainly is. Sleepy Trouble Bubble will land, and that is the Eat already used up. In the back line is Tally. He has been ultied, will fall into GA quite soon. However, uses his ultimate instead. Shockwave not going to be thrown out just yet. Now it will be. It does hit Raze, and he is so very low. But the Mundo on the front line is just absolutely wreaking havoc. You can see Spooks had to burn the ultimate, and the Chiefs win that team fight.
And everyone is just so tanky. The Mundo, the Tahm Kench, Aatrox uses the ulti to come back alive. Their Chiefs now find themselves with passage towards the Baron. They have double mountain. They can do this quick.
Yeah, they're just going to do it. You can see it's falling so quickly. I don't think Order can actually get in to stop this one. Looks like they will go for the fight regardless. The Baron's going to fall down. Forward goes FBI. He's going to need to be eaten at the start of this. Spooks goes in without ultimate. He just gets deleted. And now Destiny goes forward as well. No Shockwave available. Rogue has to go. Gordon flashes into the wall. And this is what we said. The Chiefs lineup scales so damn well. No mana on any of the carries. And they have been chased out of this mid lane. Swiffer with flash available should be able to get to safety. But the Chiefs with Baron now looking to press their advantage.
And you talk about Spooks not having ulti. They have literally none other than Tahm Kench, which isn't even useful in a combat situation. They don't have the Shockwave, but they still try and contest the Baron. It wasn't just throwing Spooks into the pitch to try and get a steal. They try and steal and then fight away the Baron anyway. This is a flank TP from the Ezreal, though. Chiefs splitting their commitments here, going half towards the Infernal, half towards mid lane.
And I think the Chiefs have been caught because Tally is going to get onto Raze, who doesn't have flash. So that will be Mon member going down. Destiny now on the back line, also very low. Can they continue the chase? They're speeding up FBI, trying to send him in here. However, they are super tanks. Swiper will have to pop the ultimate. Ultimate will drag him back if they want to go for this. However, he is just dancing around in front of them.
And I feel like Shockwave is really the tipping point for this game. Swiffer needs to be landing it onto the carries, and Order need to be getting a pick with that cooldown. If they're not getting a kill, Raze just lived on the back end of that fight. Ezreal could not dash forward, could not complete the kill onto the AD carry, and Chiefs are just so tanky. Talk about the scaling. They have so much CC, so much disruption. And every time Shockwave is used and Order don't get a pick, the immediate team fight after that point is just a whitewash for Chiefs.
Certainly is, because you can just see the Mundo is just streaming forward. They grab another Executioner's Calling onto FBI. Eventually, he should be able to deal with him. He'll go something like the Mortal Reminder. Then, you know, a final item, maybe even the Archangels at this stage of the game, just because it is probably the best scaling of the remaining options.
I feel like we're probably unlikely to see Archangels. You probably have sat on a tier at this point for a while if you were going to build it ever.
Potentially. Maybe it's a QSS then.
Especially against a Sejuani, especially against a Varus, things like that. Chiefs, now with the Baron buff, they're still in a 2,000 gold hole, but with Double Mountain, with that Infernal Drake, they've shown that they can still be winning these team fights. With
so many turrets up and available.
Yep. But gold is definitely going to swing back in their favor.
And saying that Order can race them at a certain point as well, because if they just leave mid lane wide open, they can just Tahm Kench ultimate, try and kill Swiper, that kind of thing. Instead, they just Arcane shift forward.
Surprised they didn't look for the Bork proc there to try and get onto Swiper, force him out. Actually has an Elixir of
Iron. For the Rays.
Racing against Baron, I feel like if the race stops at the inhib, then Order are like, yes, we have one turret extra less that we have to go through, so they might win, but Chiefs could honestly just continue towards the Nexus, and that's like 2 turrets to 3 is a big leap, and when it's like 4 turrets to 5, it's super rough. So Chiefs get themselves 2 in the top side and look to continue pressuring. Orianna does very well under an inhib. It's hard for Varus to step up and hit against the turret when the ball is underneath you.
And I feel like every team fight, one of Chiefs, actually, they caught out Swiper a little bit here. They will get some good damage. Rip back onto Babip. They do take a lot of damage on the back end of that. That was different from last fight.
Yep. Big poke onto the tanks. Warmogs means that Mundo and the Sejuani will ultimately just heal back up, but it might have just been enough to dissuade them. Chiefs opted in for the recall.
And what I was going to say is that I feel like if Chiefs had a team fight right now where both their carries had flash, it would be advantageous for them.
Yep.
However, given the fact that everyone on the Chiefs wants to run forward and their carries need to kind of keep themselves safe,
yep,
not having flash means that they have to play the team fights very carefully against the shockwave. And I think that that's the cooldown they're waiting on now. You know, the flash to be available on Ryoma to keep himself, you know, out of harm's way potentially.
Yep, because that's the thing. Raze has now gone back, invested in the GA, and we've seen if Shockwave lands solo onto him, it doesn't win Order the team fight. They don't have extra tools to then go kill the Zoe through the Banshee's Veil, through all of the tanks, just trying to soak out so much damage. So they really do need to get onto Ryoma. This is a window of opportunity for Order, but as I mentioned, the Banshees, like, that is very difficult to walk through. Zoe can sit so far away. If she doesn't portal jump into melee range, then there's not a whole lot of anything other than maybe a stray Ezreal Q or W that will break that one.
We're going to have actually the stone plate picked up for Swiper. So he's a big boy. Tally will kill your carries, whereas Swiper will tank your carries for a very long time.
And that's why it comes down to the burst. If Swift can get the Shockwave onto a carry in order to blow someone up, then that's incredible, and they will win the team fight. But if they can't, Chiefs just 100% outlast. They're so much tankier. Mundo lives for so long. They soak so much more. They have the persistent damage of the Zoe, of the Varus, and you've seen that being successful. That's an ulti from Tahm Kench.
Certainly is. You can see they're trying to just race around the map, trying to use some of that macro play to break open turrets. We'll get 1 turret for their trouble and also force the Chiefs away from some area.
Chiefs had the Baron. Did close the gold lead somewhat, but Order still find themselves 2,000 ahead.
The Infernal Drake probably the biggest thing they got off that Baron.
It's absolutely a big deal there. Next Baron is spawning in about a minute and a half, so you expect both teams opting in for a recall now, wanting to get there early. Fighting over Vision will be name of the game for the time being, and I'm just going to shove out the top side. What's that priority?
And both of like the teams right now are getting close to that 6th item, that late game mark. Whilst the early game looks so good for Order, you have to say the game is back to, you know, dead 50-50. Execution going to be the name of the game. Every summoner spell going to be up and available for the fight. You really couldn't ask for more from 2nd versus 3rd right now.
I feel like I don't agree with 50-50.
Okay.
At this stage of the game, I definitely favor Chiefs. Raze scaling so incredibly well on the Varus. The fact that Order really have to make one thing stick.
See, I think Ezreal outscales Varus.
We'll
talk about that. That's going to be the re-engage coming out. Hits the Tahm Kench.
Nice cleanse.
He will use the cleanse, and they will continue to back off.
And I would agree with you. Like, Ezreal probably does, as that's another bubble landing. Rogue has the
going to have to eat him again, and they're just continuing to back away, buying times for Tally.
But it's not so much about the individual scaling, it's just in terms of how these team fights are going. Actually, that's a big chunk of damage.
And that could potentially be the kill. It's going to be, I think, the Elder Drake up, and Spooks is so low now.
And Order do just opt in for the trade here. There's no way they're going to be able to fight this team fight. Chiefs have double Mountain and an Infernal.
But it's still 10 seconds till the Baron even is alive, so they're going to get there in time.
And they're sending this Sejuani. He has the smite in Babip. TP coming out from Ray's going to buy some
teleport
time.
Ever. However, Babip has face check. Can they blow him up in time? No, they can't. And FBI gets tagged up. So these are starting to land, and that's a very nice flash engage out of Destiny. Will he be able to continue this team fight? Ryoma flashes forward as well. FBI on the back end is getting soloed out. Will have to flash away now, trying to heal up, and that is Spooks dead. And that's a 1 team fight.
Yeah, that is Elder Dragon over. Ryoma does so much damage on the back end of this one, and this is what I'm talking about. Order have one specific condition where they can win the fight. If the Shockwave lands and they can blow up a carry, yes, they win. Ezreal ulti is a bit of a miracle, does not land, and that's double huge buffs for Chiefs right now. The early game looks super rough, but they've absolutely turned this one around.
Yeah, they certainly have. They now have the gold lead at 300. But you know, you got to call it a gold lead.
Lead's a lead.
Lead's a lead.
The win's a win.
Elder Dragon still has 3/4 left, so they're going to have a chance to use it. Not only that, they'll have a chance to use it in a 4v5 situation.
You can see Swiffer right now, sitting just outside the base wall, trying to find a cheeky opportunity. Have to think this mid lane is indefensible at this point.
Yep.
Probably the second or the third inhib there that will be the fight. Chiefs 4 versus 5 right now. Zoe walking all the way from mid lane. That was a big chunk of the destiny.
Certainly was. FBI certainly no slouch. Swiffer going to move towards a death cap. See, Sheen is going to be the pickup for Zoe. So both these mid laners just, if a squishy walks near them, they'll kill them. Problem is finding the squishy in the 2 comps.
Incredibly difficult when there's Mundos, when there's Tahm Kenches, Trundles, Alistars running around. Both these teams have a pretty hefty front line here. There was a big wave stacking up ever so slowly in the bottom side. So Chiefs, they go, they break mid. That's basically all of the use. They're going to get out of this Elder Drake. They're going to spend the next, like 45 seconds minimum pushing this wave out. And it actually looks like they're building the wave. They're not clearing the creeps immediately. So that means the wave halts for the time being. The next one will spawn and eventually group up, and then all of a sudden you have double cannons with the Baron buff. You have so many melees to tank the wave clear from Swiffer, stuff like that. And you can siege up the turrets in the bottom lane.
And Swiffer needs death cap. I wouldn't be surprised if they start giving every Skerrick of farm on the map to him. You see FBI right now is going back. Potentially has a shot for himself.
Does he go tier? There's 2,000 gold behind the Varus right now. Sells his pink ward. And what's it going to be?
I think it's going to be a QSS.
Yeah. He's waiting around for
Magic
gold.
resistance wouldn't hurt. Maybe more of Malmortius, also the other option in this
Hexdrinker.
situation.
Doesn't
Yeah,
want to get
Hexdrinker.
blown up by the Zoe, things like that. He's really waiting around for this one. He's doing laps in the fountain. It's 1,200 gold, 1,300, so it is going to be the QSS. As our Chiefs just sitting up actually on the top side of the map. They built that bottom wave and then just left. That means Tally's going to be able to answer it, but they still have Baron and they're still looking to siege.
Yeah, certainly do. FBI throwing out spells onto the backline is doing damage. However, you can see Raze is just so confident now he has that GA. That's a big chunk of damage onto FBI, and that will be the second inhibitor they have to see.
And that's it. That's going to go the way of Chiefs. Huge chunk coming out of Ryoma. That was a single Q landing now with the death cap. Now with the Sheen, has the void stuff, has all the pen in the world that hits FBI, and immediately to 20% HP. Chiefs are just looking for the end.
Yeah, they certainly are. Sleepy Trouble Bubble goes wide, does not land. Spooks gets the pillar down, and you can see trying to dance around, but they can't get access to this backline, and every single time FBI steps forward, he gets chunked out, but Order has to go eventually. Tally, without those Qs available, is struggling to get access into these fights. Now looking to just kill the creep wave.
And you can see Swiffer, every single time someone steps up, moving that ball a little bit closer to the lineup of Chiefs, looking for the shockwave that he needs, didn't quite find it. So double inhibs with that Baron, with that Elder, does get broken by Chiefs. That's a big turnaround. The underrated thing with Mouth is sure you do Baron real quick, but in extended sieges like that, your singular auto attacks just mean a little bit more. So every time Zoe, now working on her Lich Bane, gets to ult forwards, you can just tap the turret once and does much more damage than it would otherwise.
Certainly would, and it's still only 1,000 gold separating these two teams. And you can see Swiffer is just pinging everything on the map right now. You can see Lich Bane wasn't actually completed, so Ryoma didn't get all that much gold in the last push. A little bit surprised by that. Thought he would have had enough. Lich Bane not the most expensive item.
Is Swiffer still working towards that death cap.
It is so expensive nowadays.
And the build is so difficult, like the double needlessly large rod. Very expensive components. It's not like the 800-900 of the Lost Chapter and Fiendish Codex, other AP items like that. Super rough, because he might just have enough opting in for a recall. That's another big chunk of the FBI. Less damage than he took last time. Now with the Knight's Vow on him from Rogue, as Ultimate's desperately going to try clear out the way, but it does get the Banshees.
Yep.
And Swiffer didn't get Death Cap.
Oh.
Does not have enough, so Chiefs now Baronless, Elderless. The siege is a little bit worse. You expect Order to be able to hold on to this push.
Yeah, Orianna is so good at holding onto pushes. However, that Paddlestar did pop the Banshee's Veil. Ryoma playing this late game very nicely. After a rough early game, has definitely bounced back.
Cheeky through the walls, looking for Bubble, looking for Paddlestar. That lands,
Actually,
that's the kill!
blows him up. So much damage coming out of Ryoma with that Sheen proc as well. And Order have to run back to their Nexus turret. You can see now a 4v5 without the AD carry. This is going to take a miracle.
And all of a sudden, this is a one-threat comp. Aatrox doesn't do all that much damage at this point to the tanky lineup of the Chiefs. Ryoma Fell down incredibly early, but that one pick might just be the game.
Yeah, it certainly looks like it could be. Into the back line they go, looking for Ioma. The damage is there out of Tally, but the CC will follow up, and you can see the Bash Pros on the back line are just corralling them away. The Nexus is open. Tally goes in. Shockwave will blow up Ioma. However, now Raze has his way with Swiffer, and this will be the Chiefs cleaning out the order lineup and picking up game number 1.
Do they want the kills? Do they want the Nexus?
Come on, hit the Nexus, boys. It is going to be eventually the victory, and Chiefs will take game number 1.
You know, 2 versus 2. Swiper Raze versus Spook Swiffer. I can give them a little bit of slack. You know, want to beat on them a little bit more. This game means more than any other week in the OPL to these players, but Chiefs, that was a turnaround victory, you know, of the start of that game. Fell down super early. They were being proactive. The 2 versus 3 middle lane, heavily in Order's favor, but
that's a confidence play to flash forward off your paddle star to secure a kill. I don't know many people would have had the confidence to go for that play apart from Ioma.
And it was successful. That's the, what is it, feather in the camel's back? The straw.
The straw that broke the camel's back.
The feather? I don't know what I'm thinking with that one, but... And that was it. That was the one pick. That was a Ezreal with flash. Went back, bought the QSS. Unfortunately, QSS can't cleanse out the damage if you just get literally one shot from full HP. Bubble not even needed there. Just hits him with a Q ulti auto attack, and FBI falls down.
And Order just kept giving up objective after objective, obviously waiting on the last item to come through from Orianna. And when he got it, I mean, he did a lot of damage in the last team fight.
Yep.
But we talk about this all the time. You can only give up so much of your map before you have to draw that line and say, you know, if they come past this, we're going to fight. And I think that giving up 2 inhibitors against that kind of comp that can flank you, can just run at you, have so much CC, was ultimately like the risk that potentially, you know, put the game so heavily in Chiefs' favor.
Because, like, you look at it introspectively and you're like, yes, we need this spike to win the fight. Like, we need the death cap, but giving things up means that they're just getting stronger and stronger. They're getting more waves of farm, taking away your jungle. All of a sudden, they have complete control, and you're buying yourself more time, but their time is just worth more because they're getting more gold whilst they do it. So you're trying to funnel everything onto the Orianna, and unfortunately didn't get to that point quick enough, and Chiefs just closed that one out.
Yeah, they certainly do. After a very rough early game, the Chiefs showed their resilience and bounced back, but it was a 45-minute victory. This one is going to be spicy. Don't go anywhere, guys. After the break, we're going to come back with more painting.
Thanks to Hungry Jacks, you can win a trip for 2 to the 2018 World's Grand Final in Korea. To enter, head to os.lolliesports.com/worlds-trip and fill out your details. The trip includes flights, transfers, accommodation, and tickets to the 2018 World's Grand Final. All thanks to Hungry Jacks.
Hungry Jack's new pulled beef burger. Slow-cooked pulled beef with crispy slaw and paired perfectly with new pulled beef loaded chips. Cooked slowly, but enjoyed quickly.
Spooks has been caught out here. Will try and turn it around. Does a lot of damage. Shockwave onto 2 members. And that's first blood going over to Spooks. And Destiny's in trouble now as well. Gonna have to try and get away, but he gets flashed on. And this should be Swiffer picking up a kill. 2 kills for Order. Tally is there. You can see that this is going to be multiple members. Got knocked underneath the turret, however. Tally now with the ultimate running. Will have to try and run away. Teleport now coming in from Big Swift. Spooks has to flash away. Destiny will fall down. Swiffer is on the front line. Will flash over the wall. Ryoma, however, gets CC'd up. And Tally is huge in this team fight. Now Race has to flash out. Spooks still going forward. Now we'll go so low. Shockwave will land onto 2 members. However, it was the tanks. Destiny goes forward. Shut down for the Aatrox, and on the backline he is wreaking havoc. However, you have to say Swiper is doing the exact same, and they cannot kill the Mundo right now. Finally, he will get CC'd up. Spooks goes in without ultimate. He just gets deleted, and now Destiny goes forward as well. No Shockwave available. Rogue has to go Gordon, flashes into the wall, and this is what we said, the Chiefs lineup scales so damn well. It is going to be eventually the victory, and Chiefs will take game number 1.